Moving to a new city can be quite an adventure, and once you get there, it can take a while to learn all the city has to offer. Even after you've lived there a couple of years, you can still discover new things. In this video, I'm going to share with you 10 things I wish I'd known before I moved to Flagstaff. And if you want to hear about the secret road that connects the east and west sides, join me now. Hello, my name is Katanya Hartwell with Village Land Shop and livetheflagstafflife.com. I'm a local realtor serving Flagstaff and the surrounding areas. I've lived here for almost a decade and I love it here. Welcome back to my channel. To bookmark me and find me more easily, click on the subscribe button. Click on the bell to receive notifications of future content. In this video, I'm going to share with you the 10 things I wish I knew before I moved to Flagstaff. The first one is about the Coconino National Forest. In Flagstaff, we love our national forest. We are very proud of the Coconino National Forest. It is the largest ponderosa pine tree forest in the world. Because it is a national forest, you can camp there for 14 days for free, and people do this all the time. Now, I've had clients who I took out into the national forest. There was some property we were looking at, and they were very upset because of all the squatters. But those people are not squatters. The national forest is open to the public 24/7 unless there is extreme fire hazard. One of the things I learned about the forest is that just because the forest is on fire does not mean it's a wildfire. There are prescribed burns. And the way to know if there are prescribed burns is to check the Coconino National Forest Facebook page. I'll put a link to that below. There are also recreational opportunities all throughout the National Forest, and I'll link that as well. One of my favorite places to go nearby is the Cinders off of Loop Road, where you can actually drive into a volcano if you know how to do some off-road driving. Wait, there are volcanoes? Oh yeah, there are volcanoes all around here. However, they are considered inactive. Now, the National Forest makes it seem like there is a lot of land around here, but we are pretty much landlocked because of the National Forest. So that's something I didn't fully understand until I moved here, which brings me to fully understanding northern Arizona. Northern Arizona is not the same Arizona that most people think about. We are 7,000 feet up and considered the high desert, and that's very different than the low desert down in the valley. We do have mild summers, and people in the low desert love to come up here in the summertime and enjoy the cooler weather. But we have cooler weather all year long. We do have winters, and during winter it does snow. It actually snows more than in Buffalo, New York on average, but we're lucky that the snow melts quickly. I'll tell you more about the weather in another video, and I'll put a link here as soon as it's ready. Just know that in the winter it does get to freezing temperatures, so be prepared to wear a coat, hat, gloves, scarf, and I fell in love with wool socks after I moved here. The third thing I wish I'd known before I moved here was just how dry it really gets. Now, the interesting thing for me is that I spent quite a bit of time living in Phoenix as a child, and I didn't remember how dry it was, or maybe it's just more dry up here because of the altitude as well as the desert. So lotion will become your skin's best friend up here, and don't forget lip balm for your lips. Now, the area that got the most dry for me was my feet, and it turns out I actually don't like putting lotion on my feet. I'm not sure why. I think that's kind of strange. So I was able to find a roll-on lotion at Sally's Beauty Supply. It's called Heel to Toe Intensive Care. It's very lovely, and you just roll it on. No hands required. Now, the fourth item on my list has to do with the higher elevation. The UV rays are less filtered and therefore stronger, so make sure you use sunscreen even when it's cold outside, and especially if you're in the snow. The sun reflects off the snow, so wear sunscreen. And lip balm. There is also less oxygen in the air, so doing physical activities is going to make you feel a little more winded than you're used to. You also lose more water at the higher elevation. That, along with it being very dry, when you sweat, you don't feel like you're losing the water. Many people, when they first arrive here, see how many of us carry around water bottles, and they kind of wonder about that. After a week or two, they wonder why they're not carrying around a water bottle. So if you haven't arrived yet, make sure you bring a water bottle. Another thing that can happen at higher elevation is that you can feel intoxicated more quickly. So be careful when you're first here and you're drinking alcohol. Just kind of test it out and see. If you're used to having a couple of drinks, try just one drink and see how you feel. Because there's less oxygen in the air up here, it may be more difficult for you to find the word you're looking for. I've noticed it's such a part of our culture that longtime residents just naturally give each other more time to find their words. Everyone's just patient with each other. The other thing I want to mention that has to do with the altitude is altitude sickness. This is a very real sickness, and if your symptoms are severe enough, I really encourage you to go back down to a lower altitude. Some of the things that you can do that people say have helped them are to increase your protein and water intake. Other people say increasing their carbohydrates help them. Don't overexert yourself. You may find that you are more tired than normal. It is okay to sleep more at night and to take naps during the day. I'm going to put a link in the description below to information about altitude sickness. The fifth thing I wish I had known is that Flagstaff's growing season is shorter than many other places. Some people use cold boxes and greenhouses to help that along. But it does have a thriving CSA. If you didn't know about that, it's Community Service Agriculture, and I'll put another link down below so you can learn more about it. But it's a way to get local fruits and vegetables and support your local farmers. Number 6 on my list is that even though we have a shorter growing season, we have no shortage of pollen. There are a couple of times a year when the pollen gets quite heavy. In the springtime is the pollen from the juniper trees, and in the summertime is pollen from ragweed. You can go to pollen.com to see the pollen count. Flagstaffians love the outdoors so much, there's very little entertainment indoors. I mean, why be inside when you can go outside and hike or rock climb or go snowboarding or skiing? The indoor places that I know about are Flagtag AZ, the bowling alley, Peter Piper Pizza, the movies, the Flagstaff Mall, the Aquaplex, and the indoor climbing gyms. My favorite are the rock climbing gyms, although I like Flagtag AZ as well and the axe throwing they have there. Number 8, there are many youth sports opportunities, but when I first got here, I found it really difficult to find youth basketball. What I found that is elementary through middle school basketball is NJB, National Junior Basketball. They also have a high school league. I just find that the 3rd through 8th grade league has more participants than the high school league. Another less well-known opportunity is the Flagstaff Alpine Ski and Snowboard team. Many youth will join the ski team. They don't realize that they can join the snowboard team without having to have a lot of skill. They just need to be able to get off the lift by themselves. And if your youth wants to join the snowboard team, but they can't get off the lift by themselves yet, check out Snowbowl's free snowboard lessons. Number 9 is about that secret road that connects the east and west sides of Flagstaff. Now, it's not very secret if you live out Highway 180, Highway 89, or in the foothills of Mount Eldon. But if you don't live in those places, you can miss it. It runs behind the hospital and alongside Buffalo Park. It connects the west side from Highway 180 to the east side at Route 66. If you haven't discovered it yet, make sure you check it out. The number 10 thing on my list of things I wish I knew before I moved to Flagstaff is about the train. The train here comes through regularly. Sometimes when I get stopped at a railroad crossing, I don't hear the train horn. And as it happens, they're not allowed to use their horn at the 2 stops that are closest to downtown Flagstaff. They can use them a little ways outside of town though. Another thing about the train that can be so frustrating is you get stopped, you wait, the first train goes by, and then before that one is even finished, another train comes by going the opposite direction. Yeah. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, give me a thumbs up and tell a friend. And leave a comment below if there are other things that you wish you knew before you moved to Flagstaff. Thanks so much, and I'll see you next time. I stopped at a railroad crossing. I forgot where I am. I'm on the train. I don't think ring is right, though. Ring, honk. Honk their horns? This is that word finding thing.